Okay, thank you everybody for tuning back into Number One Leading Ladies. This is a podcast where we talk about women supporting women instead of tearing each other down. I have two guests today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I think that we're going to work on getting this podcast published as fast as possible because as you guys are listening every week, right now, obviously, there's a huge shift going on in our economy, in real estate, and you kind of need to have an action plan. So we're going to work on that. But ladies, if you'll go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience, I'll let you take it away.
Yes, hi, I'm Ellie Paget. I am the hospitality creativist of Homeslice.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ellie. And my name is Rebecca. Ellie and I are partners in an awesome vacation rental company and design company called Homeslice Days right here in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. So pretty much these ladies have the plan. So I'm going to let them take it away. Ellie was already going to town telling me everything. I'm like, wait for the for us to record because people are going to.
Ready. Yeah, I mean, so we're kind of talking about how short-term rentals thrive in this kind of market, you know, this precarious market where everything is constantly changing. We don't really know how long, you know, this is going to have an impact on rentals. We don't really know how long it will take for the economy to kind of jump back in, but we do know that we have been really on the forefront of thinking about what we're going to do to make sure that we're still a thriving business. You know, people still need to go and stay places when they're traveling all around. And what's really beautiful about having larger homes or condos available is that it actually generates a level of security, being that you're not really, you know, in a crowded atmosphere. You can have more of a long-term staycation for, you know, families who are kind of needing to get out of their house. They can go to a place that feels like that trip to Mexico that they're not allowed to take anymore, where they can ride their bikes and do safe practices of social distancing in a well-stocked, clean, you know, we're very conscientious about taking care of our guests so that they know they can stay longer term. But I think we also have some other strategies, and I want to let Rebecca kind of take the floor on that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Ellie, for just taking that introduction. I think what is on everybody's minds right now is what's going to change, right? When we get on the other side of this, what about our daily lives is going to change, and how long is this going to last? And unfortunately, we don't exactly have a clear picture of that at all, but I think that all of us are experiencing that change within ourselves. And when we can kind of take a look in the mirror and go, okay, well, what am I feeling? How am I processing things right now? We're going to have a pretty good idea of what a lot of other people are feeling. You know, reality is we're more alike than we are different. And so what we've been taking a hard look at is, well, what are the needs of the people going on right now? And we know that long-term, you know, 30 days plus is a need right now. People need to be able to stay in place, but they don't want to stay there forever. And so rather than going to a strict, hey, everybody stays for 12 months, because let's be real, most people's financial situation is changing on a month-to-month basis right now, we're taking it in chunks. We're looking at 30 days at a time and saying, okay, let's get people in 30 days at a time and extend from there and be able to provide some sort of stability in what we're providing, but also the security of not getting anybody in too long, especially with the new laws that have taken place recently. I know a lot of people know that you know, anything that's backed by Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae cannot be foreclosed on right now, cannot go through any sort of process to evict someone if they can't make a payment. And we don't want our owners to be in those types of circumstances. And so we've taken a strong look at how to protect ourselves and protect our clients, and then of course protect our guests to ensure that they have, you know, a level of clean and you know, a level of just, you know, going through and taking that extra step to ensure they secure and safe in their environment. And I think security and safety is really at the top of everyone's minds right now. So the more we create a product that speaks to that security and safety, the more we're going to be able to thrive in today and tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree. Those are all issues that I'm dealing with. A lot of people are dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. So what can we provide, like, when you're thinking about this right now, I know everyone's kind of wondering, like, okay, well, when I do go on vacation, right, what is that going to look like? What do I do? And we're all kind of wondering, like, are hotels going to be a good idea? I mean, there's a lot of people in hotels, and I don't know when this virus is really going to go away, and I don't know what the next virus is going to be. And so some of those different questions, I think, are on our minds as we're trying to decide what we're going to do in the future when we can get together with our friends and family again. And we're also thinking about, does that group need to be a little bit smaller? Does it need to have a little bit more privacy? So I think that the vacation rental model is actually going to explode on the other side of this because it provides that sense of security and safety in a smaller amount of space. And what we're finding is that the number one way to fight something like this is just to have smaller groups. Right? Don't get a bunch of people together. Don't go crazy, be in a small group, have a good time, and then go back to your safe environment at home. So I do feel like the way that people are going to spend their money is going to change as we continue to move forward through this, to just be able to make decisions a little bit differently. And like I said, us being here to be able to provide a product that allows for that sense of security is super important. And I think all of our businesses need to look at that, right? We all need to be focused on, okay, where do we go tomorrow? And how do we meet the demands of the economy? Because the economy is just what people want, right? That's really all it is. It's how are people feeling and what do they want? Are they scared? Are they happy? Are they excited? What are they into? And then you try to create something that the majority of people, or a good amount of people, are interested in.
Yeah, I agree that everybody is in limbo right now, not knowing answers to those questions. And so
Yeah.
it's interesting right now because you kind of watch people and business owners or just people in general, how they're dealing with this. So one of the biggest things I've shared with my team is that everybody right now is going through the 5 stages of loss or of grieving.
Yeah.
You're either in that first stage where you're in denial. You're like, this is a non-issue. This will go away. It'll get back to normal. Whatever. This virus is made up. Like, people are literally just conspiracy theories left and right, whatever. Or you're in the second stage of being angry. So I see a lot of Facebook posts. I've had to get the F off of Facebook because you'll see something and then someone argues with them and they argue and they go back and forth. I mean, and the thread and the feed is like 18,000 feet long. And I'm just like, none of y'all are experts. None of y'all are on Trump's cabinet.
Yep.
None of you are biologists that are, fighting and making the actual vaccine, so like, why am I reading this at all?
Yep.
It's negative. So, when I've posted anything, it's just been some data, some facts, that my purpose is only to either calm people down, and have them just deal with it, or, just kind of like saying where I'm at. So there's anger, then there's bargaining. So that's the point of time when people are like, well, okay, fine. So this is an issue, right? So I'll just cut a few expenses and I'll move over here and I'll, I'll make do and tweak a few things and then everything will go back to normal and it'll be fine. I'll get my life in order and then it'll be fine. And then or you're in the place where, what is it? I wrote them down. So it's denial, anger, bargaining. Then you're in depression. So people, I see that also. Teammates where we had on Monday and like no one showed up to my team call on Monday, and I was like, you know what, fine, I'm gonna record this and I'm gonna let you guys know, here's some freaking bad news. The economy is never gonna be the same ever again. It will never ever exactly how we thought it was or perform exactly how it was. We will never.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing.
The exact same type of job. We won't interact with each other the same anymore. We won't communicate the same anymore. We won't meet the same places anymore. You know what I mean? It just will not be the same. So the sooner you get past all those stages from, all the way from depression, to acceptance of the fact that this is what it is, and then figure out how to pivot and then make do with what reality is, the faster you can excel and the faster you can succeed. And right now, actually, like you said, it is a really good time to kind of look at how everyone else is reacting. And like you're doing right now, you're catering to their fears, which, I mean, that's great because the average person doesn't get to acceptance very fast. So for now, while they're still vacation, while they're still, whatever, they're still going to do their thing, just modified a little bit. I think that's really smart. So when it comes to our apartments and our modeling and stuff, we just assume, even when I'm about to go buy other stuff, I'm still putting in offers. But the offers are assuming, I tell the seller straight up, I'm like, I'm going to put into this underwriting that there's 0 rent growth for 12 months because I have 0 idea what's going to happen in the next year.
That's smart. I mean, you're already just,
That's
yeah,
across the board. Like,
you're like, this is the facts.
Yeah.
These are this is the reality of it.
so if that blows up the deal, meaning that we can't buy it at your price to get the returns that we need for our investors, then we're not going to touch it. Sorry, bye. And so I have to say that all the time. There's going to be a point in a few months, I think, kind of closer to wintertime, when I think this is going. I think this is going to be, there's going to be a second round because we don't have a vaccine, and we won't for 18 months. We won't until
18 months. Yep, that's what Bill Gates was even saying, and even that's putting the pedal to the metal to the pedal the other way. I'm not really good with that jargon, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So
March 2021.
For our pricing module, we're thinking the same, right? Because this is our high season. We have like the seasonality aspect of short-term rentals. Some markets are really thriving in the summer and some markets are really dead in the summer, like Arizona, for example, where it's bloody hot. And we're like, okay, well, how are we going to model this for our clients who are like, I need to pay my mortgage. Yeah. And all these, we lost over $70,000 of reservations in 15 days, which totally tanked. We aren't tanked, but we didn't lay anybody off. We're like, okay, so what do? We actually canceled another $35,000 worth of reservations. One, because we knew that little few days here and there really wasn't gonna cut the cake for us as far as creating that that longevity of revenue. If we have longer term leases in, which is where the market is pivoting to, then we'll be able to substantially increase the amount of money that our clients will receive. And since we've done that, we have 4 or 5 homes that booked up for 2 months at a time in Seattle or here in Arizona. So Rebecca was such a genius on this. She owns your glamping compound in North Carolina. She was really extraordinarily advanced on knowing that we should pivot so quickly, even though I'm kind of old fashioned and I'm like, no, we got to keep in all the short-term renters. So, we've seen a lot of success with that. And also, our pricing, we had to drop it, but we did so in a way strategically to where we're still promoting a steep discount and we're offering a discount, but it isn't as severe as if we were to just like place our bottom line on the table. So there's a lot of different ways to implement success, but still in the same turn. Our guests are given a lot of love at this point. Not that they weren't before. Now they're given more love. So yeah, it's a good time to be in the short-term rental industry. We're still positive and, looking forward to this experience and what we can learn from it.
Yep. So say that one more time. You guys are going from short-term rentals to short-term rentals just a little longer. So
they're mid-term rentals.
Yeah, that's smart because I'm seeing that. So I have a real estate brokerage on the residential side too. And, pretty much my agents, like what we had to pull 25 listings from the market, and we're like, what do we do with those? And so I've had the idea to pivot as well on those. Some of the sellers, they're not willing to listen yet, but they'll get there. They'll get there probably in like 3 months or so. But I'm like, so we've got these options because again, we need to assume we have no idea what's going to happen for 12 months. So if you want to quit bleeding and you want to make something work, you can either own or finance it. So you stay making money off of it. You're the bank. And so everyone's paying, and they're living, or which some people won't feel comfortable with because the due on sale clause thing. You can also do a lease option. So that's another thing that you can do. In every state's different, the way that it works, but here in Texas, a lease option, or what people understand as rent to own. So you can't advertise it as rent to own, but we'll figure that marketing part out. But you can do it in Texas 6 months at a time. So I have an attorney that basically you just have to make sure the attorney writes it up instead of us using TREC promulgated forms. Is that they do a special clause that basically says we're going to do 6 months at a time, and then it's a 6-month auto renewal of the next 6 months. And so what that does is somebody also has the opportunity that they're leasing it, but they're also, like, it's in their contract that 10% or whatever percent you just decide on. So for me, 10% of your rent money that you're spending every month, 10% of that goes towards the purchase. So whether you want that to go towards the down payment or go towards whatever, it goes towards that. And then in addition, the person believes or they accept that they're going to be purchasing the home within 6 to 12 months. And so they don't destroy it like people that are long-term renters. And then again, if things happen to like dramatically get better at 6 months, you have an out, so it's kind of similar, like midterm, not long.
I like that.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm recognizing from what you're saying is that it's kind of moving at a slower pace.
Yeah.
And I think that we all, have to move at, not like we have to halt the brakes, but this is all making everyone move at a slower pace and kind of think about it in the terms of like, not, day to day, but like, how are we going to, like Rebecca said, chunk this out to where it's successful and lucrative and beneficial, but still moving and not stopping. Because, it's really important for us to be creative in these times and to keep businesses going.
Not every owner is going to give a crap, because some of the people that I've worked with, they have like a large fund. And so they're just a big money pit, or not a money pit, but like, just a funding source. They're not a person that's a seller. The is going to be different on both sides. But the other flip side to it too is that we're in a situation where we still have in America, we have 3.5 million households that we still need to provide. So we're in deficit still of 3.5 million households worth of housing. So we are not at the bubble. We still need more people to be put in housing. But the problem here is affordable housing. And a lot of people at the time were coming up with creative solutions to keep building, but like with cheaper materials that I just don't believe will hold up in a hurricane and all this other stuff. Well, these people, if we lease option to these people, it's actually going to be an opportunity to help more Americans that don't qualify credit-wise to get into a house, because how it would work, again, not just with the 6-month auto renewal in that contract, but it would also say that the client needs to work with like one of these 3 credit repair people, and then within 6 months their credit needs to be here, and then we will move forward with the sale of the house to them, and they'll be qualified. But in the meantime, they'll have a house, they'll be able to rent it, and then they'll be prepared in 6 months, hopefully, that's the idea, to purchase and to own, and so then we'll be able to get more people and more households and a more affordable rate of it.
Yeah,
and
I
absolutely.
Think it's Go ahead, Rebecca. Sorry.
No, it's absolutely great. No, I love lease options. I think the whole lease back option is a really good idea. And I know it's the whole concept of you can't do rent to own, and because there's a lot of shady people out there, right? So I totally get why that is something that's off limits in verbiage. We're still able to do the lease back options here for a longer period of time in Arizona. But either way, however you write it up, 6 months without a renewal or 12 months, whatever it may be, at least you're getting people in homes and you're starting to fill those up with a source of revenue, right? And right now, as an investor and everything else, I mean, there's the two opposite spectrums, right? You've got the bank mindset that says, well, as long as we get our percentage return on our REIT, we're fine. Right now, if this percentage of it is empty, it's fine, blah, 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 blah. But then you're not thinking about the cost to the property, right? When you have empty properties, they aren't maintained, what starts happening, we start having problems with plumbing. We start having problems with, all sorts of issues with HOAs, right? Because the property isn't being kept up. And it's better to break even in those types of circumstances if it's just breaking even than it is to do a loss. And I think that's also the mindset of, right now we're at the just make sure you can cover it, right? Get people in the door. Make sure you can cover your bills, right? With us, we're like, let's do it a little bit higher, but are we making our same profit margins that we were 2 weeks ago? Of course not, right? Nobody's making the profit margins that they were, but we're also not going to put people in a bad situation. We're not going to allow people to be in a situation where they can't cover those bills and that houses aren't being properly taken care of. And all of those things are super important when you're looking at an entire portfolio. So you've got the other spectrum issue where we're like, we've got, you've got investors who are like, no, I still want the same returns that I was getting before. What's going on? Like, it's that denial stage, right? And so you're like, okay, well, I understand that you're in a grief cycle of denial. However, we need to be able to make some decisions that make sense. And just like you're out there putting offers on properties, right? It's like, hey, we've got this 12 months to be able to have kind of this like gray period. Guess what? If you're in denial of what's going on right now, that's your issue, not mine. I need you to get on the road that things are changing, and that's okay. We're going to be okay on the other side of this. We're just not sure what that's going to look like. And it's not okay because it's going to look the same. It's okay because we're going to go to the mattresses, and we're going to make the changes that are necessary to be able to thrive in whatever that economy looks like, because bottom line is it's not going to be the same it was 3 weeks ago. And that's a really hard thing to accept in a 3-week period of time, right? It's really tough to be able to look in the mirror and say, that's going to be our reality. And we don't even know what that reality is yet.
Yep. So I took 4 days for myself to be like, F, and like lay in bed and eat a lot. And at least I ate healthy food, but I still ate a lot, and then trying to get off my butt, go outside, go on a walk, so get some sunshine. Because at least here in Texas, we have sunshine. And at least it's actually yesterday, it was like upper 80s. And I was like, man, this virus is going to be dead here faster, or like in Arizona, faster than it will in the north. So I think that even more people are going to drive, like come here, or come to a sunny.
I agree.
And so
the short-term rental model is really thriving in urban markets. Even though it's kind of drastically dropped in New Orleans or Florida, or it has really risen in urban markets just because people want to get out of these major cities. We're even seeing some people from New York messaging us going, I am so afraid. I have a baby on the way, or I have a baby and I need to get out of my city because thousands of people are dying. And they're offering us these really, really low amounts that they want to move to Arizona for. And we have to say, our base is this, we want to be able to participate. We have joined and opened up more and increased more of our channels to include those who are first responders or dislocated students, or those needing quarantine for longer periods of time because they're coming from Canada, and that's what's required when they're traveling from Canada. But we're really recognizing that I think in the next cycle, there will be a boom of people moving from larger cities. And a lot of people who have a majority of their portfolio in major cities who are doing short-term rentals and really thriving on this model of property management will recognize that, having diversity is really important, and that you can't always put all of your eggs in one basket. So I think it's interesting to see how businesses will change in the coming year, and really kind of understand what the pillars of their success are, because you're right, it's never going to be the same. But that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. Change is inevitable. And the sooner people can recognize that change is inevitable, then being able to go with the flow and figuring it out. I was reading something this morning on LinkedIn that said, the best advice at this time is to not give any advice.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, we don't know. It could.
Yeah. And I think that just being in acceptance and being not just fake positive, and again, being acceptance, you can't force yourself there. You just have to be like, am I for real? Like accepting that this is what it is and what am I going to do about it? But also focusing on the positive, that what you do have, you know what I mean? So what I do have is, I was able to look at my closet and say, what do I have? What assets and what liabilities do I have? So a lot of, like, for me, an asset is something that cash flows. A liability is something that does not. So I looked at my closet and I go, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, you're going. So I sold them all. They're gone. And I've gotten cash for those. And then now that is going to extend a huge bump in marketing that I'm focusing on right now to make sure that I'm getting out there and taking the traffic that people are not taking right now, because they're moping and they're at home, drinking and doing Netflix all day. I'm like, go ahead, go for it. This is where
Let them do it, right? Winners, we rise to the top.
This is where we differentiate ourselves. This is the time when millionaires are made, so it's really important to focus on what is the I've got my grandma, and she's listened to me, thank God, because she's like my mom, but she's like, stop letting people come over.
Grandma.
6 weeks ago, I said, cut it off. No more maid. Let your house get dirty. Like, just stop letting people come over. So we'll talk, once a week, and I'll sit there and have my Skype time with her. So I have her, I have a roof over my head. I've taken on a roommate. So I, have somebody that actually is another professional. So we kind of bounce ideas off each other. The connections that I have, the vendors that I have, the friends, it's really important to go back to your contacts that you already have, your closed business, your people that can now become referral partners. So I'm gonna offer to you guys as well. I'm coming out with a magazine, and what I'd like is a section or a page. You don't have to pay anything for it. I'm going to do this by hand myself. But if you'd like write some content, I'd like to have you guys featured in there, because it's really important right now to lean on each other and focus on what we do have, instead of like always normally we're in the chase of new stuff, right? So right now we need to focus on what we do have. And then also thinking about this, I was walking running or something the other day, and I go, you know what? Think about this. Pollution has decreased. I'm never late to a meeting anymore. I'm not rushing in traffic getting I'm not being around a bunch of people where I can get sick. For me in my industry, I'm constantly dealing with men, brokers, and things like that. And there's definitely this like differentiation between the way that I'm treated and my other male partners are. And I'm not going to think too much into that. So I've let the male partners go get the deals, and I focus on bringing all the funds, because we can't do a deal without money. So I focus on what I can and what I'm good at. But in this situation, now that we're behind a screen and no one can touch me and no one can you know what I mean? Like it's almost an equalizer, if you ask me. Like if brokers keep wanting to do business with people that hold the purse strings, and like for me, for example, they need to get on a Skype call or whatever and call me, or a Zoom call and call me. So I think this is good.
We'll have to do another Zoom call where we get into our business suits. Like, I didn't realize that I would be on Zoom this morning, so excuse my, my dress, but I think what's great is, like you said, it is an equalizer, at the end of the day, when everything is, when we're all kind of left to be at home and relax, and, it's either you make the best of it or you don't. And I think that that's really speaks to the character, but I think it's a good time to practice that. So, with, again, going back to like traveling and having a staycation, and, we want to make sure that we're just constantly there for our clients and showing them that this positive results based on the actions that we're taking. And so it's just helping them, but letting them lean on us a bit, and being like, yes, your pool is still maintained, your landscaping is still happening, money's still coming to you, we're going to make you more money. And being on the forefront of that is just being able to pivot as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and that's the reason I'd really like you guys in my magazine, just because you're like-minded. And that's another thing right now. If it doesn't, it's so important right now to cut stuff off that doesn't help. If it's not helping you, it's hurting you, and it's got to go. You got to cut the fat. And so every single person that I even look at their Instagram feed, even look at their Facebook, even talk to them on the phone, if they're not in the same mindset of wanting to move forward and improve, then they're hurting me. They're not helping. So it's got to go. So, I've unsubscribed and, unfollowed and defriended a lot of people, because I'm like, all you're doing is sitting at home and drinking and watching Netflix. Like, you are not my kind of people, and having that influence in my life doesn't even need to be at all. So.
Right. No. Yeah.
I want to
Rebecca
back
and
on
I
that
don't
really quickly.
Yeah.
No, Allie, go right ahead. I was just going to say, I want to piggyback on that, because I love how you were talking about cleaning out your closet, right? Where do I find value in what I have right now, right? What's going to bring me cash flow right now versus what's a liability? And I think it's interesting that we're talking about cleaning out the closets, because I feel like this situation, anything in our lives right now that isn't benefiting us moving forward, it's got to go. Like, I think that's really what it comes down to. It's like, okay, you're kind of looking at your life, you're looking at relationships, you're looking at, everything around you. And it's like, okay, what right now isn't supporting me moving forward, when I know it's not going to be easy, when I know the decisions I have to make are going to be challenging, when I've got to get myself up in the morning really early to be able to, get myself centered and be able to do my workout and be able to eat right and be able to continue moving forward, knowing that the schedule I'm creating is my own. right? Every decision that I'm making throughout the day is really up to me because I don't have a bunch of appointments that I have to go get to throughout the day. I'm going to have calls. I'm going to create, results throughout the day, but that's based on me entirely. There's no, it's really about being able to have that strength of like minds around you to be able to keep you moving forward when you don't feel good, when all you want to do is drink and watch Netflix, right? And there are a lot of people that in our lives every single day that just help support doing that rather than the opposite. And we get to clean out our closets in every single way that there is, right? No matter what it may be. And I just love that you already started there. I'm like, yeah, clean it out, girl. No, just get rid of the fat and keep on moving.
But it makes me, going back to I want to jump in really quick. It makes me so sad to think about the world and you have a 6 by 6 foot box that you're living in India. And in India, they say that staying at home for Americans is a luxury commodity. Being able to stay at home for long periods, months at a time, is a luxury commodity. If you're looking at other countries and living in a 6 by 6 foot box with 12 people and having to like make a living, it's impossible. So we're, and this goes back to experiential design too, beautifying your space, making it about you, having it feed back to you. And in Chinese culture, it's called feng shui, something that I studied a lot growing up, like adapting. That's why I have a crap ton of plants in my house, because I really love like being able to live in like a jungle. It's really bad. I have a lot of plants in my house. Just like, these holistic approaches, going back to like the primal ages of just being able to live and thrive and be self-sufficient and live with yourself. You're running around every single day, kind of running away from who you are, being so busy that you're not actually subject to the quiet and the calmness. And so it's really cool to have more time with my kids and get to know them again, because they're always in school and like running a business is challenging. But I'd like to see when we can get them back in school. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just like, get out of here. But at the same time, just making the best of it.
Yeah. So I pulled up a couple of things that I got from another training that I did that just so spoke to me. So there's just a couple of screenshots. I turned this onto my screen, but we were talking about like 2 seconds ago. This is similar. So for example, like if the faster you can get yourself to zero, like get rid of all the fluff, get rid of all the extra, get rid of all the, like basically get yourself back to that mind of a person literally starting a business from ground zero. Like you have nothing, you have no other options but to grind and to hustle and to build and to cold call and to go every day. But to be able to get to that point, you have to get rid of all the excess. So, like I said, getting rid of something old or questionable makes room for something new. And there's no change by simply adding something new, adding a new skill, reading something, because then you have all that old stuff still like taking up your time, still getting in the way. So like, for example, don't be like in Italy. So they add on to the house, they add on brick, then they add on stucco, then they add on concrete, then they keep adding stuff. And like 1,200 years later, you're finally seeing some change or whatever, and it looks like crap when you drink a bottle of wine or whatever, but like it looks okay in that sense. But if you could have just stripped away all the extra excess layers and started over fresh and new and added skill sets and added things that help you to cash flow or improve or move forward, then I think it's a lot more effective than just trying to add on to a bunch of junk you already have. So right now, change requires you to surrender something first. It's actually the definition of change. You have to exchange or give up something to be able to change. So getting rid of those purses, like I said, like you guys said earlier. Rebecca said earlier, she was like, you have like taking, $2,000 worth of stuff and then now turning it into a budget for marketing that now will increase the amount of lead traffic that comes to my website and conversions, and therefore drumming up business, which is therefore income and growing my company and my purpose and all that stuff. That's going to help me move forward versus those purses sitting there does nothing. You know what I mean? So people are like shocked by that. They're like, oh, is everything okay? Like, why are you selling them and stuff? And I was like, because I don't freaking need it. Actually, I don't even respond when someone says that. I'm just like, because it's just what I'm doing.
Yeah, just accept it. You'll figure it out later if you haven't figured it out yet.
And then some actions like moving forward from, our, for everyone that's listening, not just, I love the way that you guys are moving forward, and I think you're going to be mega successful. And I think that people need to pay attention to what you guys are doing because you're so change and growth oriented. And that's, businesses are going to die if they can't adapt. And I never knew what that meant until now. Like people say that and I'm like, oh, I get it. Like big changes are happening. And if you can't figure out a way to like pivot, you're done, but if you move forward, like people are like, well, what do I do in my daily life moving forward from like this podcast? What can you do now? You can get to full acceptance now. It's the first thing. Again, assess your liabilities and your assets. I literally made a chart in my notes. What is the plus and minus liability versus assets? Where can I cut hard and fast and get rid of and cut the fat? Again, remove everything that doesn't help you. So if it's not pushing you forward, it's holding you back. Focus on what you do have, like I mentioned earlier. Get into discipline to produce revenue. So again, going back to your contacts and partner lists and contracts that you already do have, and leaning back on those people. But then again, focusing on like, what are my product offerings? What's my offering 1, 2, 3, 4? What's a good deal I could give somebody that's already in a contract with me? Let's renegotiate because things are weird and they may just back out or default, or let's go back to those people and try to drum up something that makes more sense, and really start like the hustle. I mean, this is the time to start doing cold calling again and start, drumming up more business, or like I said, marketing online, and try to strengthen those skill sets that aren't really being utilized. Again, contact and partner list. So that's something that I'm working on now, people to reach out to be able to be referral partners and really lean on each other. And because we're going to need people moving forward, even if we can't have lunch with them, we still need to, you can't get anywhere without people. Expand your offerings at this time, like you guys are doing right now. Don't just stick with what you already had or what you were known for. Change and expand your offerings, because those original offerings that you guys had, or the gals had, you may eventually be able to use those again, depending on change. It might be 10 years, it might be a year, it might whatever, but you've already honed that skill set and it works. So you still have that, and you can always use that again, but expand. And then, so this may be something where we could help each other, but have someone to keep you accountable. That's huge. So those are the things, and how to kind of deal with this.
I agree. That is such a great list of things to just really reflect upon and go, okay, I have my, it's funny, one of the first things I told Ellie, I said, okay, I've got a homework assignment because, my COVID-19 thing, let's plan on learning something new, right? What's that thing I want to learn that I don't know, right? And I think all of us have those things in our lives. Like maybe there's this book on a shelf that you've been meaning to read. Maybe there's a course that you've been meaning to take. The amount of courses that are now free online is absolutely astounding. What's out there right now of additional knowledge that we can now bring to the table throughout this process. Everybody is trying to figure out, how do we shift and how do we grow and what do we do? And so there's been so many meetings with some of the platforms that we use to be able to work with professionals and get on the phone with other people in our industry and go, okay, guys, what are we going to do? How do we collaborate? How do we make this work as a team and think about things a little bit differently? What's working, and talk to each other about those things. What's working? I'm a firm believer that there's no such thing as competition. There's just a lack of collaboration, right? And the more we collaborate, the more we can create results for all of us. Right? All of us can really thrive and grow. And it's just about showing up. I think right now we see that more and more and more. There's so many of us are buried in the thick of what do I do? But when we get on these phone calls with, other people in our industry and people who are shifting all over the place to try to figure out what to do, it's a breath of fresh air. It's like, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one who's going through this. I'm not the only one who's trying to figure out the next thing to do. And that's where we get to lean on one another and just make the changes that make sense and do it one at a time. We all feel that rush of, I've got to do everything right now, right? I was like, we got to get ourselves on 5 new platforms today. We need to apply for these, whatever grant money is out there. We need to, and it's all of it at one time, and it's overwhelming, right? It's a little bit overwhelming to try to figure out, okay, well, what do I do? Because things are changing faster than I can keep up with. And what that really comes down to is, okay, what are my 3 things today? What are those 3 top things that are going to make the most momentum for tomorrow? And don't focus on the rest of the junk, right? Look at your 3. Sometimes it could just be 1. What is that one thing that if I do today, when I wake up tomorrow, something's going to be different that's going to help support me for the following day? And when we can do that and we can focus, and when we can continue to communicate with those in our groups that are on that same page with us and dealing with the same things, we are in a positive light, the stronger we're going to be to continue moving forward through this. And I think maybe our thought process shouldn't be what's it going to look like on the other side. Maybe it should just be what's it going to look like tomorrow, because none of us, I mean, we don't know if there is, like, what another side is. What does that really mean? I think really it's just, how do we support each other today to be able to thrive tomorrow?
I agree. Well, thank you ladies so much for joining me today on Number One Leading Ladies. Can you tell our audience how they can get a hold of you? I know they're going to want to, so you guys have a national presence, and obviously you're pivoting with the times. You're not shutting down. You're not going anywhere. How can our audience get a hold of you?
All right, I
Yeah,
was going to have
Rebecca's
Ellie
gonna
take
take
the lead.
Oh, you go first.
So so the best way to get a hold of me, I'm an open book. Feel free to just give me a call. My phone number is 480-302-1822, and you can reach me at Rebecca@homeslicestays.com. That's REBEKAH at Homeslice, HOMESLICE, stays, STAYS.com.
And I also, you can reach me on our Homeslice Stays website. That's www.homeslicestays.com. Please, if you do have time during this downtime and you want to give some feedback, I'm really receptive at this time to, the usability of our website. So please send me a message there. Let me know what you think. Would love to connect with you for any reason, just to hear more about you. And thank you so much, Kaylee, for giving us this opportunity to connect with our audience and connect with your audience. I love you on Instagram. I follow you. It's like, oh, I see those verses. So I'm really honored to still be connected with you, and hopefully we can continue to stay connected in this time and see what happens.
Yeah, I'll make sure of that. Absolutely. Let me connect or disconnect our podcast. And everybody, thank you for tuning in to Number One Leading Ladies throughout this time. We're going to continue to be here to support you. Feel free to reach out to any of the 3 of us for any support you need. That's my biggest ask right now, is that if you need any help, you need a level head on the phone, whatever, just reach out, because we have to support each other right now. So see you next time on Number One Leading Ladies.